Hey everybody, welcome to the Jim Masters Show live entertainment lifestyle talk show series. How's everybody doing today? It's so nice to see all your smiley faces. I hope you're in the mood for some great entertainment, poignant conversations, and of course, our light, love, and levity that we always celebrate and share around the world here on the Jim Masters Show live. Or as we call it, we just blend all the words together. Our famous JMS Lovity. I see lots of comments live because we do our shows live, already built up from our JMS Lovity audience. Thank you very much for all the great love and all the comments that we see coming in here. Now, if you'd like to comment live during the show, you can definitely do that. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is the channel you're watching right now, home to the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. The channel is Jim Masters TV. Be sure and subscribe because that's a special gift for our subscribers. There's no cost to subscribe to our series and our channel. That is free. You just click that red button that looks like that. And boom, watch what happens. You become a subscriber. So if you'd like to comment live during the actual show in live chat, subscribe to the channel. That's a gift to our subscribers. And also don't forget to leave a comment for us on the YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up. Now, we would love it if you subscribe to the channel anyway, and be sure and click the notification bell. It's a little notification bell icon you see on the YouTube channel under each episode there. That will keep you abreast of all the episodes and all the cool things we are doing every day live, coming at you just about 7 days a week. 640 episodes we've done of our amazing series. I am so excited tonight. One of my favorite people, one of our favorite guests is making a return visit. She's not only a guest, she's a special friend of the Jim Masters Show Live. She's been with us several times. She was initially here as a special guest talking about her illustrious and legendary television, stage, and film career. And then she came on some special celebratory episodes that we've had. When we reached over 500 episodes, she was here. The birthday party episode, she was here. And she has been celebrating in our successes and growth, and just a real friend of the Jim Masters Show Live. And of course, you guys know who I'm talking about. We have a lot of guests that come through and stop by. We are, of course, talking about the wonderful Kathy Garver. Yes, star of stage, television, film, many, many years. And of course, a brilliant voiceover artist as well. An author a couple of times over. That's right. You know her from a lot of different things, but most notably, of course, the beloved TV classic sitcom Family Affair, starring, of course, Brian Keith, Sebastian Cabot, Johnny Whitaker, Anissa Jones, Mrs. Beasley, and of course, Kathy Garver as Cissy Davis. Fabulous, legendary show. We all love it. We've all talked about it so many times. Of course, you can still see it re-airing on a lot of the nostalgic television networks. Boy, we love those nostalgic television networks. And she's just absolutely amazing. She's a breath of fresh air. She is somebody who is always out there too, in terms of greeting her fans, keeping that Family Affair legacy and the heritage and history going, which I think is really very, very special. Of course, there you remember her as Cissy on Family Affair. But you know, she's done so much more than just that. That is one thing that she's been a part of. Of course, she was involved in Spider-Man. Yes, we're going to talk about that. and so many other projects. She does a lot of voiceover work, most fondly remembered for her starring role as Cissy in the long-running CBS international television hit Family Affair. Kathy Garver has also garnered critical acclaim in movie, stage, radio voiceover, animation, and audiobook narration. She's from Long Beach, California originally, and her professional acting career began when she was just 7 years old, and she's been going strong ever since. She's never stopped. She's been in TV, westerns, sitcoms, dramatic programs, and all kinds of things. And of course, when she was 8, Hollywood legendary director Cecil B. DeMille cast her in the original The Ten Commandments, the epic motion picture. Yes, she's also been in the award-winning movie The Night of the Hunter and so many other incredible classics. She is also a sweetheart of a person. She really, really is. And that's what we love about her. She's the real deal. She's authentic. She's compassionate. She's empathetic. She's funny. And she is so great at having a phenomenal memory. Now, how do I know this? Because one of the last times she was on our show as a very special guest, we were talking about favorite colors, favorite this, favorite that. And I had mentioned that my favorite green color is green. Maybe it's the Irish in me, the green. So you know what color she's wearing tonight? Of the thousands of people she meets and all the cool things she does, do you know what color she is wearing tonight? She is wearing green. And I know it's strategic. She said, I put it on just for you, Jim. That's why we call her a lovety. She is truly a lovety. Gang, thanks for all the comments coming in. We see them here. We really appreciate them. We love you all. Let's join together in welcoming once again to our show, the Jim Masters Show Live, our very special guest, Kathy Garver, who is joining us again live and direct from Los Angeles, California. Kathy, welcome. It is so fantastic to have you back, my friend.
Well, thank you, my friend. It's great to be here. Every time I'm on, it's a celebration because you celebrate the day, I think, and just the life. And so it energizes everyone that I think comes on your show and your wide audience that watches you on all your shows.
Yeah,
all your endeavors.
You and I were talking about all the different things we do in our day. This show here, just one of the things that I do in television and radio and stage and film. And just like you've always been so busy and so connected and so responsive to fans, to the audience, to those who have felt very touched by the programs that you've had an opportunity to be a part of. And I think that's a beautiful thing about you, Kathy, because, not everybody does that. Not everybody takes the time to connect and to celebrate the things they've been a part of. They're always moving to the next, but you've been always so good at doing that.
I love to see people in person. They give off and emit electricity, and then I just connect with them, and we make sparks. And it's really important, especially during these times when you're locked down or you're behind a mask and nobody can see you. And so I love going to the conventions. I went to the Hollywood show last month, and it was just wonderful to see real live human beings. I mean, I see them, but to have that connection and be able to talk with them.
How have you been during the craziness of this, the pandemic, everything we've been going through? You have still been managing to stay connected and collaborative and creative during it all. And I know you've had an opportunity to join us at different intervals over the last 2 years, which we absolutely love. We always look forward to you joining us here on the show. We seem to be on a more positive side of things, which is really, really good. But how have you been, and what are some of the things you've been working on since we chatted last?
Well, first of all, I think it's very important to have a good attitude during all of this.
Yes.
If one is fearful, that is going to affect the whole body, because the body reacts to your emotions and what you're thinking. So I think you make yourself unhealthy if you dwell on something. I personally have a positive attitude. I look at things, hopefully not through rose-colored lenses, just because there are so many things to be grateful for and to be fulfilled about. And I think if you keep that kind of positivity and don't think, oh my gosh, is my forehead a little warm, and then rush off and then immediately go to bed or something. I think that's very deleterious to the spirit. And we want our spirit to glow. And I think that we can make it glow if we cling on to that. So I worked on a book, and I brought that book out since I have seen you last. It just came out in November, the end of November for Christmas. And that's the Family Affair scrapbook. And it was really fun putting this all together with all the memorabilia from Family Affair. And we're celebrating the 55th anniversary of Family Affair, which is very odd since, I'm 39. And
absolutely.
I don't know, it's actually the spirit of Cissy who is 55. I personally am still a child in many ways, but you have, again, the curiosity of somebody that's younger. I think that's another thing that's a good thing not to lose as we lose our hair or a little bit of our sight or a little bit of our hearing. Actually, speaking of hearing, I did this commercial a couple years ago, and
And
so
it's
many
airing because
people.
I've seen it on my television set recently during all kinds of programs. And I'm like, hey, nudging who's ever on the couch. That's Kathy. That's our friend Kathy.
It played so much. And so the producer called me about 3 weeks ago and said, we're writing some new spots and we would like you to be the spokesperson. I said, well, that sounds good to me. I said, so many people have seen this clear captions commercial. And so I think I would like to do that. So we're going to tape that next week. So
Oh, you are? That's
yeah, we're doing it.
fantastic.
Yeah, just at the end of next week, the 23rd and 24th.
So
So
they're doing
that is an ongoing
that's an
kind of thing.
ongoing project, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I
Tell us.
did a Super Bowl commercial with Jerry Rice,
What
and
was, oh boy.
that was going to be really exciting. And then we shot it in San Francisco, and I met Jerry Rice, who was the nicest guy. I mean, talk about charm and charisma. Oh my goodness! And so we did that. And so this is what this is supposed to be on the Super Bowl. They played it during the playoffs, and so I didn't see it on the Super Bowl, but I did it, and they
Yes,
paid
you
me.
did.
So that's always nice.
That's fantastic to have an opportunity to do a lot of different things like that. And you also, people know you, of course, from the beloved sitcom Family Affair and other things, but tell us about the involvement with Spider-Man.
Ah,
Wow.
well, a Spider-Man, and in his Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, I played the part of Firestar, and I originated that voice. And it is still ongoing. Not only is it doing well, and Disney picked it up from Marvel. Disney bought Marvel, and then they put it on their Saturday morning shows. And what came out in 2021 was the action figure of Firestar. And so this just came out. So her character is still there. I mean, I like it, except for some reason she has two heads and one is detachable. So I get decapitated every time that somebody plays with it.
Wow.
But most people don't play with it. They just want me to sign it, and keep it. And Miss Lion is in there too, which I really like. They did a great job.
That is cool. Let's see it up close a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, this is, there's my camera. And there's a reflection of my ring light that my kids got me for Christmas. This is Legends Marvel's Firestar. And I sign it. People like me to sign it right across the plastic. So this is.
And where can they get that if they want to collect those? A lot of collectors out there.
Yes. And, this is, I found out what a collector's item is because
Yes.
when Mrs. Beasley, and Mrs. Beasley is still being made by Ashton Drake. And they made these wonderful ornaments, and they did a bobblehead, Mrs. Beasley. And I would get some, and then I would go to the conventions and I'd sell them. And so I called them. I said, I'd like some more of those. They said, well, we don't have any more. I said, what do you mean you don't have any more? I want some more. No, we don't have any more. So that's when I learned that there are collectibles. So these are very now difficult to find. I have some, and you can go to my site, my Kathy. They're actually not on the site. I should put them on the site, but it's kathygarver.com, or people can PM me, private message me on my Facebook and say, oh, I love, the action figure, and could you sign it and send it? And I can do it that way as well.
That is fantastic. Tell us a little bit more about the cookbook, like for folks who are interested in that, the foodies. We've got quite a bit of foodie levity here on this show. What are some of the things that are in the cookbook that people can enjoy? And congratulations on that. I know that's been a labor of love for you for quite a while, Kathy.
I've written 2 of these cookbooks. The first one was the Family Affair Cookbook. See, it's my camera's backwards, or maybe it's just me. And so this was the Family Affair Cookbook, and it takes each one of the characters, and they each have a chapter. So there's Mr. French's chapter is very gourmet cooking, and the kids have a real easy to make chapter. Mine is Sissy Sizzles. And Uncle Bill's is Potent Potables, where there are recipes for cocktails, especially Manhattans, since we lived in Manhattan, New York. And also what people were doing now. That was my very first book. And then I did my memoir, Surviving Cissy, and the next Child Stars, where we brought out holiday recipes for a family affair. And this takes every month and the holidays within that month. So February, there are a lot of Valentine's Day things. And in January, of course, we had a lot of New Year's things. Now, the third one is TV Dinners. And this book goes along with the pilot that we have for TV Dinners, where you remember the TV Dinners, Jim.
Oh, yes, with the warm chocolate pudding. And
that's right. And the green peas and
yeah, I think Libby's was one. There were Swanson's, but I think Libby's was another one. And they used to have the sort of like cartoons or animations on the bottom of the box. And yeah.
Oh, you were a fan, yes. And Stouffer's. They're still making these Hungry Man dinners, and they even have the little portions. I have some of the original silver aluminum little plates with all the different categories, but this goes along with the show that I'm doing. We have the tvdinners.com, and I host Classic Stars, and we take one of the TV dinners and we give it kind of a little healthy makeover. We find out what the stars are doing now, and our first guest star was Butch Patrick.
Oh, yeah.
Great. Have you had him on your show?
Not yet. No, I'd love to have him. So spread the word. Eddie Munster. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Eddie Munster. He is great. He's just wonderful. And he's going to be a spokesperson for this theme park that they have at 3 theme parks. And they're going to build like a Munster's museum. And then he's having classic stars come and do meet and greets. Did I tell you that I'm a spokesperson for Silverwood?
No, that I didn't know. Tell us about that. Congratulations. You are on fire, Ms. Garver. You are on fire.
I know, that's why I'm fires.
That's why I was aptly named. Yes.
Well, for this, and it was, I guess, last year, and they wanted a spokesperson called Silver Wanda. And Silver Wanda rides horses, and she tells everyone about Silverwood, which is this great amusement park in Idaho. And so I did an audition for it, and I rode like a little chair that was my pretend horse. And so then they called, and they delayed it for a while because of some sickness or pandemic that was going on. They had to close a couple of the amusement parks. So then they call back, says, "Oh, we really want you as our spokesperson." I said, "That's great." And he says, "We'll send you the script." So I got like a pile of, 6 different spots we were doing. And it says, "And Silver Wanda rides up on her horse." And then it says, "Here's another shot of Silver Wanda riding around the park." And I said, "I'm really riding a real horse?" And they said, yes, you're riding a real horse. I said, "Okay." Now, I had done Westerns, and I did ride back in the day for Big Valley. I rode a horse and shot a gun, and I was, very active. But that was a couple years ago. So I said, well, what am I going to do? Luckily, I live in a canyon, and I'm near a place called Agoura Hills. Yeah. And that's just filled with horses and ranches and things. And where I live, it used to be an equestrian. It still is an equestrian center. That's how it started. And there are horses all around me, and there are little paddocks. And I called the homeowners association. I said, "Could you, get me to the equestrian center?" And I said, "Sure." So I said, "I need a couple lessons because I have to ride this horse." And they said, "Well, what kind is it?" I said, "What do you mean? What kind?" "Oh, Western." "Oh, I'm sorry. We only do dressage." What's dressage? Well, I said, "No, Western." He says, "Oh, well, we can recommend someone to you, and it's Silver Lining Ranch." I said, "Well, what about that? Here I am, Silver Wanda, doing Silverwood, and here's Silver Linings Ranch." I went there. I took like 3 catch-up lessons, and they were great. I went to to Idaho and did all my spots, and they'll be showing in July.
I tell you, you are something else. You are on fire. You're a go-getter. You know what it is? You're so willing to try a lot of different and new things. You're always, stepping into this and that. And I think that's fantastic, huh?
Well, it's fun. And I like technology. I broke my leg once upon a time running.
Yeah.
And so I don't think I would have gotten so much into the computer had not I had a cast on my leg for like 5 months.
I remember.
And so that got me into understanding a little bit of technology and yelling at it every time that it doesn't do
kicking it, hitting it.
Yeah. Throwing it across the room, telling Alexa, come on, Alexa, what's happening?
Yeah. That is funny.
So usually she'd speak up. I'm sorry. I'm surprised that she didn't say anything because the moment you say her name, she said, yes.
Do you ever forget that is Alexa and then think somebody's actually in the room?
Not yet, but
who came through that sliding glass door?
Yes.
You're also, I believe, you have been doing some beautiful spokesperson work for this as well. Billy's Blues.
Yes. William Squire, I tell you, he is such a phenom. He has such great style, and he talks to women, and he puts on shows about how to stand and what to do. And he has a beautiful line of cosmetics. And I met him through my other friend, Sebastian Reich in Palm Springs, who has a new line of skincare. Mm-hmm. So it went from skincare from Sebastian then to Billy's Blues. That's the name of William's cosmetic line. And they are such talented men. They're just, I don't see how they do it. And with such style, I mean, goodness.
Yeah. So you've done that as well, which has been fantastic.
Yeah. I was doing a couple book signings for my scrapbook at the Valley Relics Museum in San Fernando Valley. And so Sebastian says, I want to dress you. I want to dress you up. And I said, well, okay. So he came over to my house, he and his friend, and he had a red wig that he said, now Sissy's hair was a little redder. So he got this red wig, and he had this dress that he had bought from Suzanne Summers' collection.
Oh boy. Wow.
And this little green dress with long sleeves and pink boa feathers fit me perfectly. Now, you have to understand, I'm 5'1". Suzanne Summers is like 5'8" or whatever, but the dress fit me perfectly.
But it's still,
it's just she has longer legs. We have the exact same measurements, only she's on stilts, kind of.
But see, so you made it work.
It was fun.
You made that work, which
we sure did.
Which is fantastic. And everybody's doing well, the family, everybody. I know there's been some milestone anniversaries, birthdays, different things in the family since we chatted last. Congratulations on all, my friend.
Thank you. Yes, the 40th anniversary with my husband. My son turned 30. It's the 55th anniversary of Family Affair. And it's the 60th, I think, of Ten Commandments. Oh, by the way, I wasn't in the original Ten Commandments because that was the silent version.
That was the silent, yes.
This is the talking with Cecil B. DeMille.
You were in.
See, I do listen to you, Jim.
You were in the real deal. Yes, congratulations too on the anniversary, huh? That flew by fast, huh?
Well, yes, it did. Now we're getting up to my 41st anniversary and the 55th anniversary. Oh, there's my husband. Hi, David.
Yeah.
The poor thing fell down a 180-foot cliff at the end of November.
I know. That's unbelievable.
And my brother says, well, he was lucky to be alive. And I said, yes, but he broke 3 ribs and had a concussion and scratches all over. He had to be lifted from a helicopter from the canyon. So it was very dramatic. And he's still recovering, but he's doing better than he was.
So he's recovering and he's on the mend.
Yes.
Thank God.
Prayers are always accepted for
his recovery.
Yes.
Yeah. I love this too. That's
Oh,
beautiful.
yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great picture. That's my little baby boy who is now going to be 31 this Sunday.
There he
Oh,
is.
and
I
where's my
was gonna say,
dicker?
that
This is what he grew into.
those years went quite fast, didn't they?
Boy, they did in a blink of an eye. The change of his life. Oh, isn't he cute?
Mm-hmm.
They're just adorable.
Yeah.
And he and his girlfriend of 7 years live with us. His
Yeah.
fiance.
Yeah.
And they're great. They're vegetarians and they work out every day. They're dog trainers, dog sitters. They're outside. What a concept. Oh, let's lock everybody out and put them in their house and don't let them outside because D3 and the sunshine is so horrible. This is what is
Yes.
curative, is to be in the sun. I take like 12 vitamins a day.
You do.
Elderberry and
Elderberry.
D3 and
D3. I
it's
do
the
the
whole
D3.
alphabet.
Yeah, because everybody is when they measure everybody or you go for physical, everybody seems to be low on D3. They say
Because everybody's inside and
the last
kids
2
are like
years.
at the computer and it's outside. And I understand if it's snowing,
Yeah.
but if you're on the West Coast in the Southwest and it's Florida and Texas, it's as I say, one of the most curative things. And it helps your
Yes.
immune system. So
Do you take biotin at all? That's good for hair, skin, and
absolutely.
nails. Isn't that a good one? Hair,
Yes,
skin, and
and
nails.
Sebastian, my friend that
Yeah.
dressed me up and with the
Yeah.
skincare, I found out about biotin from him. And
Look
he
what
is
happened to me.
absolutely one of the most
My
beautiful
hair
men
grew
I've
with the
ever seen.
biotin since we saw each other last.
I'm sorry. I
My
was
hair,
wondering about that.
my
I said,
hair grew.
I gotta put my glasses on.
You're
Is
like,
that
wait, is that
Jim's
Jim?
hair?
Is that really Jim? Yeah.
Yeah. And is
Biotin.
that
No, it was actually a pandemic project. I've always wanted to grow it a little longer and see how it would, turn out. And I've worn it on PBS and other, programs that I host on television, and everybody seems to like it. The crew here, the Lovity viewers, they're like, "Don't cut it, don't cut it." It's been about a 1.5 year project, and it's well, it's a lot of work.
oh, I know it. I had to wash my
It's
hair this morning. It takes a lot longer. I was looking for my glasses, but I can't seem to find
and
them.
I
Because
say that
I
when
thought, is
when I'm
that his
yeah.
hair?
When I'm sleeping, it tends to want to go, over my face. Like,
Oh, I know. So you're always brushing it aside.
yeah, or you're
Yeah.
leaning forward with a bowl of soup and it wants to come in. And, but yeah,
What do you wash it with?
there's actually the salons gave me some special, it's sort of like a Brazilian blowout treatment shampoo and conditioner, which keeps it sort of nice and coiffed versus boom. And what's interesting is after you shampoo it and condition it, which you don't want to do every single day. I always used to do that every single day. It's actually really not good for your hair to do that. Skip a couple days and then it really settles nicely. I just did it yesterday, so it's still a little, bigger than it will be like 2 days from now. And it starts to come down a little bit and it starts to fall really nice. But yeah, it's been really something, So here.
Yeah, I'm liking it. And as I said, I couldn't
Thank you.
exactly see it. So I thought, are these new kind of earphones that come around? I said, well, I guess not.
The glasses really make a difference, don't they?
Yeah, they do. I couldn't. I have green glasses. I have green glasses. Oh, here.
Are these headphones?
Here they are. Okay.
Oh, those are cool. I like
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Those are
Now,
nice.
now I can see.
Those glasses really complement the top. Yeah, your
Yes.
top. Yeah.
I try and be color coordinated.
Very, very
Glasses with-
nice.
What you're wearing, and it matches my new book.
Yes. Yes. Again, that really is, a labor of love, I know, for you, and really has been something extra special. Recently you had an opportunity, talk about legends and the gathering of legends. You had an opportunity at the Hollywood Museum to get together with, there's of course, Ruta Lee and Joyce Bulifant and so many at the museum there. What was that like?
Well, now you see that green dress? That's
Yes.
the one that Sebastian got me. That's Suzanne Summers. And then I'm wearing the pink boa. Now, two doors down, or two people down, Ruta Lee, she had on she wears boas certainly more than I do. That was my, so far has been my only boa. And so I call myself her mini me
Yeah.
because I love Ruta. She is so beautiful and she's like my model. I love to have my hair like her. And it just so happened that she wore a boa that day. And this is the second time that I ever wore that dress with the boa. But this was a gathering of authors, celebrity authors, and
Yes.
it was at the Hollywood Museum, and we had a great time. And there's Judy Tenuta and Joyce Bulifant. I'll have to put my glasses on again.
Joyce was on our show, and Judy was just on this last Saturday. She was on, like you, she's been a guest a couple of times, and this particular time she really wanted to talk about, it was Valentine's actually weekend. She had come on and she really wanted to talk about how she is kicking the butt of that stage 4 cancer, which is
Yes.
really a beautiful, heartwarming thing, to hear. She's a firecracker too. And we're so happy to hear that she's trying her best and she's kicking it,
Yes, she is. She has a wonderful, wonderful attitude, and she still has a lot of energy.
It's
And I saw her and
unbelievable.
I said, "Oh, Judy, you look just great."
Yes.
And she does. She still has fire in her eyes, and she's doing well.
For those that aren't familiar, again, tell us about this book, your first, Surviving Cissy, my family affair of life in Hollywood. Tell us about that book. That book I know has been highly revered and regarded and has won awards too, right?
Yes, and as a matter of fact, my publisher, Rowan and Littlefield.
I thought you were going to say Martin.
Yeah, we
Rowan
need to
and
go
Martin.
back to there to Rowan and Martin for Hollywood Squares, and actually in Hollywood Squares, and what's the name of the show that they did? Laughton.
Laughing,
So
yes.
it was always a Laughton.
Sock it to me.
Yeah. So this book, Roman and Littlefield, not Roman and Martin, they published it in a hard copy, and they just brought it out this last year, 2021, in paperback. So now it's the paperback version and the hardcover version. And thank you for telling about the awards. It's won
Yes.
like Books on the Bank. It was a choice in the Eleanor Dickey Award, and
Yes,
it was a labor of love. It was laborson, but a labor of love.
Of love,
And again,
yeah.
my office back then had pictures and stuff all over the floor, and it kind of got a life of its own because I started writing it, and then it came to like a sewing motif. And so like all the chapters have something to do with sewing together the quilt of your life. And so there's a book that it's a chapter that's like the lacy parts, and sewing a different thread is another one of title of a chapter. But each of the chapters have like an analogy to sewing, which is strange because I don't sew.
That I tell you, she's honest, she's authentic. That's why we love her. That's kind of like I think Ann B. Davis. There was an interview where Ann B. Davis, of course, Alice on the Brady Bunch, she was a guest on Conan O'Brien's show when he was doing his show way back, and she had the Brady Bunch cookbook. And one of the first questions Conan asked her was, how many recipes do you have in there? And, why did you write the book? She goes, I don't have any recipes. I don't cook.
But I'll tell you who does cook is Chris Knight. And I did a play with him, Dinner at 5, with Chris Knight and Fred Grandy from Love Boat and Caryn Richman. That was on Gidget. And he's a great cook, Chris. And he's going to be he has said that he's going to do one of the TV Dinners episodes when we're actually start filming it. We right now have the pilot. So
tell us about that again. So the TV Dinners, tell us about it. Where can we see it? And what is it about? Love to, sink our teeth into that a little bit more.
It's not out yet.
Oh, it's
We have
coming
the
out.
pilot, and I'm the host, and we take those TV dinner trays and the meals back then, and we make more healthy versions of them. So instead of mashed potatoes, we have mashed cauliflower, and instead of, like, for the meatloaf, we will have like lean turkey or a lean beef to make the meatloaf. And we have like a green pea salad that will go with that. So it isn't so much a cooking show as it
Right.
is a lifestyle show. And
Right.
it's about our guests. It's about Butch Patrick. It's about Chris Knight, and that's there. We started out and with a different show, which morphed into Idle Chat, which is a show now on Retro TV or just Get TV. And I'm the executive producer of that one. And it does reunions of classic TV shows. So they
Yes.
had Happy Days and the Love Boat. And so that's, it's similar to
Yeah.
TV dinners, but we have the food element, and we just have one star that we can really get into, um, to get into what they're doing now. And there is a new channel you talked about at the beginning, at the intro, about the nostalgic channels and the
Yes.
classic channels. Well, there's a new one called Classic Reruns TV.
Really? I didn't know
Yep,
about that one. And I
I
work in
know.
TV. What is
It just started. Well, it'll be a year in a couple months,
Oh,
so
wow.
it's brand new. And the fellow that's the CEO and marketing person, David Bishop, has, ever since it started, the show has been in the black, and he's getting more and more um, stations. But Butch introduced me to him, Butch Patrick, and
Yeah.
Butch had done a thing during Halloween for them, an original like half hour type of thing. And then they asked, I was on the Patty Duke show, and I
Yes.
played her friend Monica. So they wanted to do a marathon. So I hosted a marathon in this last December for Classic Reruns TV. And we have a couple projects with them. And I want to really see them grow because they're so dedicated, and he really knows what he's doing. And he's got some great investors that are right behind him. And we've got some other ideas about some live presentations that we're working on with them.
That is so cool, so special. So there's so many different things. I mean, you could easily be with your husband, on vacation for a couple of months in Aruba with your feet in the sand and banana colada in the hand and swinging from a hammock. But you are so busy and so immersed and so connected and creative. I think it's just fantastic.
Well, if I were there, I would probably then try and find a piece of paper and a pen and write, oh, the sand feels so wonderful as I dig my toes into the warmth of the ground gravel.
Yeah, yeah.
I would start
Document it.
with that, document it and just put a different kind of expression on. I mean, my husband is great because after 40 years, and I tended to talk a lot, and he says, mhm.
Oh, he does. Is the
What else?
Yeah.
Mhm.
What else?
That makes for kind of a good relationship.
It does. We brushed briefly on this too. Tell us about ex-child stars. Where are they now?
Well, my real good friend Fred Asher and his partner Manny Kabahunga, they run my website and talk about creative. And Fred is just a hard worker, and he's a true fan. I met him at an autograph convention, and we became very good friends. And he's a good writer, and he had a PR company, and he says we should do a book about ex-child stars. And I said, okay, that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
So he wrote like the introductions of the shows. It covers 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s television shows and the child stars that were on those particular shows. So
Great
I did all
years.
the bios, and then
Did
he
you?
did the little summaries of the shows themselves. So
Wow.
that is it's a really a nice book. That's a good book.
That's fantastic. And there's that organization too. I know some of the guests that have been former child stars have talked about it. There's an organization that was created, I think, by Paul Peterson that protects or looks out for the children that are in the entertainment industry. What was that again? You remember that organization?
Oh, sure. Paul, and actually, I was just emailing Paul Peterson today. He started a minor consideration, and that's the name
Right.
of it. And he was very vigorous in pursuing some really good laws that would protect the child. When I was a child, I did an episode of this show, and I was a waif, and I had been beaten, and I
Mm,
was in like a blanket.
mm,
And in the courtroom, they said, look at this child. There was nothing to protect the child from being
right.
beaten by anybody.
Right.
And so they put it under an animal cruelty. And
Wow.
they were able to convict the people and set me free because they based it on animal cruelty, even though it
Yes.
was a child. And so
Wow.
there were no labor laws to
Not
protect kids.
not at
And
that
you look
time.
at Jackie Coogan, and that's what really instigated Paul's law, which is the Coogan law, because Jackie Coogan was one of the, and Keith Coogan is a good friend of mine, played my boyfriend in the pilot for my new show, Aunt Cissy. And he played my boyfriend in that. But his grandfather was Jackie Coogan, and he made so much money. And when he was grown up, he had nothing, zero, and because the parents took it all. So Paul passed this law that anytime a child works on a set or a studio, they have to have a Coogan account set up by a bank, and that a percentage of their money has to be deposited into that account. And then they get it when they're 18. The only problem is that my son, when that adorable baby, when he was a little boy and he was working, and so I dutifully put all his money in the Coogan account, and I said, "Look what I have for you." And when he turned 18, well, in 4 days that was gone. So what we need then is a little extension of once
It's
they get the money,
right.
what do you do with it? So
Exactly.
that you still need to have a little guardianship going on.
Maureen is watching in Arizona. She says, Kathy, I just want to tell you I never missed Family Affair. I'm the oldest girl in my family, and I always wished to have you as my big sister. I bet over the years you've heard that. And thank you, and Maureen, for that comment. I bet you've heard that so many times and still hear that today, huh?
I do. Um, I set up the character of Sissy was kind of an amalgam of like me and the character. And since we did like 5 years and I got to know the writers, they towards the end would write stories that were based a little bit on what I was going through at that particular time and in the 60s. And so it really was a personification of the character, which included a lot of me in it. So, and even though I was the youngest sister in my family of four, um, I was always very responsible. And I think that that dollop of characteristic got put into Sissy, along with just her genuine wanting to listen to people. I tell you one thing about this show, that everybody liked each other, and the show was basically about love. And you see some of
Yes.
the shows today, and they're insulting, and they're negative, and they're funny, and let's do the one thing joke. But to have something endure and mean something, it has to, I think, come from the heart. And I think that that show is what built that show.
You know, it's great too. And just again, we were raised on it too, and always see the reruns, and just have always really connected with all the characters. It was beautifully shot, and it's real, high end quality, and the music, the underscoring. That's so. We had Lloyd Schwartz on, of course, and he was fabulous. And I was telling him about that. We were talking about some of the shows, the Brady Bunch and others. And I said a lot of times people, we love the characters and what we're watching, but there's some of these other elements, and maybe that's my TV background. I'm looking at it and hearing it. the music, the underscoring, and how that really adds to that emotional feeling that they're trying to get across in the performance of the actors and actresses, and how the music sort of slowly sweeps in and just puts the icing on the cake. And Family Affair, from, the brilliant acting and performances to the scripts, the content, the emotional connection people have had, the way it was shot, and the music accompaniment was so spot on.
Absolutely. And you look at the creators and the perpetrators of creating the show, they were all from film. And like our director for 4 years did all the Laurel and Hardy shows, and Ed Hartman, who is one of the creator producers, was in film with Bob Hope. So they all came from that film background and where you tell a story. And that was very important to Ed. And secondly, it was shot on film. And whereas now it's on tape, and it's even worse with that HD. I hate HD, but it's more stringent, and it's not finely tuned, and in kind of not a haze, but softer. Film is softer than tape.
Right.
And the music by Duvall, I mean, he's an award-winning composer and musician, and he was in the Lawrence Welk Show. He did My Three Sons, and the crew from My Three Sons are the ones that created Family Affair. And My Three Sons lasted 15 years? It was,
yes,
and it was all concentrated on the story, because Ed would say, if you want to do a story, you look at it like a tree, and you want to get to the top of the tree, you start climbing the tree, and then you look out, you find the solution, and you shimmy down.
Yeah.
And that was the format for each one of those shows. So it all followed a story, and thank you, because they spent time on the lighting, a lot of time on the lighting, and it was film lighting. And so all of those elements, the sound, the music, and the settings, and of course the acting, was very memorable.
Oh, I tell you. Kurt is here, and Kurt says, "Hello, Kathy. My sister loved watching Family Affair in syndication. She would have me watch it with her growing up. She loved your character, Cissy. Grandpa called her Cissy too." Really, really nice. Thank you for that comment as well. And Marty Thompson, who's originally from Australia, but he's a fabulous, brilliant crooner, and he's in Nashville. He did our super chat, which we really appreciate. Thank you, Marty. He goes, "Hi, Kathy. I'm the Aussie voice over the theme park Aquatica SeaWorld." So he's the voice of that. He said he noticed you've done a lot of animation characters in your career. What's your favorite character you have done? Thank you, Marty Thompson in Nashville.
Well, it's got to be Firestar. I mean, I love that character, and it's ongoing. And who wouldn't want to be a super heroine? I mean, I like that, and can fly through the air and make fire like that. It's good. Like Firestar,
Yeah.
Go, girl.
That's right.
All your friends, go for it.
On Family Affair, I know it's a very tough question, and you've probably been asked 10,000 times. And they're all, because all the episodes become like almost your babies. Are there one or two that for you personally stand out as your favorites? The ones that you either loved being a part of that one, or you just loved what the storyline was, or all of the above?
Well, I loved A Waltz from Vienna. My grandmother, who lived to be 101, was from Austria. And so this was a fabulous episode. I fall in love with this prince and royalty from Austria who is visiting. And we go back to Austria, and Uncle Bill joins us there, and I dance, and I'm wearing this beautiful gown. It was kind of like the Princess Diaries. All of a sudden, oh, I can be a princess. This is so beautiful. And then I have to break it to him that I'm not in love with him, and it was just a fantasy. So it has a lot of different elements to it. I thought Cissy was a really stupid girl. What's wrong with that girl? Didn't I teach you better? No, you didn't. Well, I would have said yes. Well, why didn't you?
Now, I was going to say that's a fabulous entree to what my thought process. You just triggered that. I would imagine there are times when, you are the performer, you are the actress, you are taking those words the writers have penned and bringing them to life through your talent and your expression and your emotion. There's probably some time, but what happens is you become very invested in the character, in Cissy. Like, you protect Cissy, you want the best for Cissy. So there probably were some times where you might have even stepped back quietly and said, if I really was Cissy, I don't think I would have done that. I really wish that she was going to do this instead. Did you ever have that internal sort of battle about Cissy? What you
Well,
wanted
one
from
thing,
her?
Cissy was younger than me, quite a bit younger, and so I was kind of fostering her along as her older sister, and she would go out with people that I would not have gone out with. And I talked to the producer about this, and I said, "Well, I wouldn't date him," and he said, "No, but Cissy would." Oh, okay. So he set me on the right track. I want to tell you too, I'm doing a couple movies.
You what?
By the
Have
way,
they
when I
added more
spare
than
time.
24 hours to the day? I thought I was busy. You are unbelievable.
This one's almost done, and it's called Old Man Jackson. And we shot it. I shot it last year, and they're still finishing up on it. And we shot it in Houston with Johnny Ray Gibbs, and it's so funny. It's really a funny picture. And now I signed on to do this other film called The Broken Road, and it's very interesting. And the people that are associated with it have incorporated therapy horses, and it takes back to the horses,
I've
and it takes
interviewed
place
a
on
lot
a
of people.
ranch.
Therapy horses are incredible. The healing powers that they have, it's extraordinary. You probably learned a lot about all this, huh, on that project?
Well, we're still. I mean, we've just finished. He's just finished the script, and with Peter Dayal and Tommy Anderson is the one that was responsible, and he's an ex-colonel, and he's won all kinds of awards for his screenplays and for his movie. And this Broken Road takes a military veteran who is just really down on the ropes and PTSD, and how is he going to recover? And it really weaves itself, down the journey and down the road to, that the road is broken, and how are we going to put this road back together? And the horse therapy, again, is like an analogy, get back up on that horse, and ride.
Right, exactly, which is beautiful. I mean, you have your hands in so many different things. What are some of the blessings and joys for you that keep you going, keep you doing it, keep you connected with everybody and everything, always having a thirst for wanting to be involved and to have platforms to be able to stay creative and express not just who Cissy was, but of course who Kathy Garver is, which you do so beautifully. What are some of those blessings and joys in your life?
My husband and my son and his future wife and my stepson Scott, who has come back into my life after about 3 years and put together all the funding for the pilot for Aunt Cissy, which is another project that we're working on, which is a prequel and a sequel, and put into, like, at the beginning when you're saying we take the nostalgia and we give it like a new twist in a modern sense. And so that's what we're doing, is taking the technology and showing like a prequel and a sequel. I don't want to give too much of it away, but he has been just delightful and is a fabulous escort for me when I go to events and things, because my husband has been ill, and then Scott has kind of filled his shoes, and then my beautiful son. So they keep me really grounded, especially my husband, but it's a great support team.
It really is. When you have that, because, days can get busy and crazy. And were you able to separate early on when you were or kid, a teenager on these sets, on these television programs, involved with these films, were you able to easily separate the reality from what is created? A lot of times, a lot of people, even viewers, consumers of the product, sometimes have trouble separating the reality and what is created. Were you able to do that early on? Because the shows of that time period, we love them all, and they were so warm and sometimes even a little bit sweeter than actual life in certain ways. Were you able, which I love actually, I bring that back, but were you able to separate at that young age the reality from what was around you on set?
What are other of my blessings were my parents. I had fabulous parents, and they they saved every penny I ever made. But one of the best things, and I may not have understood it at times, but even when I first was starting on Ten Commandments and doing all these shows, and um, I would go back to regular school. And so my mom would always say, "Oh, well, don't tell them that you were off, in Hollywood and doing a show. That's just say that you were out and then came back in." So she, I think, helped establish the normalcy and keep, okay, this is your school and this is where you work and do your good grades or whatever, and this is something that's fun. I started singing and dancing when I was 3, so I had that kind of sensibility of at the Megalyn Studios in Hollywood, where they discovered Shirley Temple. and
Yes.
and so I'm not as as old as Shirley Temple even there, but my mom put my hair in curly things, and oh, this is going to be Shirley Temple, but I was Kathy Garver. But Mrs. Megalyn, boy, you had to know your tap dance, and you had fun, and we performed at the Shrine Auditorium. I was there when I was 3 years old, this big, in this great big
Wow.
auditorium. But it was my mom, I think, that set those kind of parameters. And so this is work, and this is school, and then this is play.
Mm-hmm.
And as I say, she kept on my money and for me. And
there is a difference.
Wrote
Yes.
I'm a wee bit of a hoarder, unfortunately, and so I'm even going through the boxes that are still in the garage, and I ran across these checks from 1955. She kept all these things, and she dutifully wrote down every single thing that I did. She even kept the checks, and so I think I get a lot of that from her. I had little locks of hair. I think only witches do that now, but anyway.
Do you really? You so things, you're very sentimental, and you have a connection to a lot of different things. I have a lot of a matter of fact, but I don't. I mean, do you have a climate controlled storage bin that you pay monthly for? I do. we do, but it's filled with records and CDs and sealed records and tapes and reel to reel. A lot of my television work on 3/4-inch tape, all these different things, is sealed there in case there's any fire or flood. At least it's there sealed. Do you have anything like that for your various collections?
Well, what happened, we lived up in Northern California in Hillsborough for like 38 years.
Yes.
And we had a full attic. And when they were building the house, they made a mistake because it was kind of like on a hill. And so we had a basement, the full length of the house. So I put all my stuff in the basement and then got stuff in the attic. And then we did have a flood and we did have a fire. And so I lost some things, but the fire didn't touch anything that was in the basement. Mm-hmm. And most of this stuff was in the basement. And I had a great friend, Robert Noodleman, who is a Hollywood historian. I don't know what I would have done without, and he passed away. But he would send me magazines of, because at that time there was Mirror and Your Life, and instead of our social media, it was all print and photo play. And he got all these magazines and he put them in plastic, and he very, gave them. And that's why for my scrapbook, I was able to, A, because I'm a hoarder, and B, because a lot of the stuff he had saved for me that I was able to take pictures of and put in the book.
See, that's fantastic to be able to go through that. And then here you have a use for it. You were able to put it into something that a lot of people can enjoy, which is fantastic.
Well, he always thought that there should be like a little museum. He was in charge of Debbie Reynolds Museum, and he was a curator for that. And he saved a lot of things from Paramount that they were just going to toss. He says, "No, I'll take them. I'll take them."
Yeah.
And so I kind of learned from that. And as a matter of fact, I had mentioned the Valley Relics Museum in the San Fernando Valley, and so I did do a whole exhibit with the actual things, with the original viewfinders, and they were just starting to have so many of these ancillary materials for their shows. So I had the lunch boxes and what Mrs. Beasley's. There were like 5 different kinds of Mrs. Beasley's, a little one, a bigger one, and so I hope that, Robert, you see, thank you. I saved those things, and I did have the exhibit, and it is in the museum.
Isn't that fantastic? I mean, again, like I said, you're keeping the legacy intact. You're preserving it. You respect it. You mentioned the Mrs. Beasley. There was even a paper doll, huh? My sister has the original. I had the Lost in Space robot. She has the Mrs. Beasley, but there was a paper version too, huh?
Oh yeah, they were
Wow.
there were Mrs. Beasley. There were cutouts, and the license was separate from Mrs. Beasley than from Family Affair.
Yeah.
But they were also Family Affair paper dolls, and I love the one they had of me. She's really got a cute body. She would have fit Suzanne Summers' dress perfectly and have been right on the right length for her. But the Family Affair paper dolls, and there was Family Affair game and all kinds of things. But Mrs. Beasley had a whole thing of her own coloring books and stick-ons.
Yes.
And, as I say, like the 4 or 5 dolls.
Oh yeah. We saw this too, songbook.
Oh yeah. There was the Odeon organs, and the fellow that had this was in Ohio, and he was really nice. So they built like this little organ that was for Family Affair. It was from a toy company, but it was an actual organ. It was about like 3 feet tall and maybe, no, it was about, 5 feet tall and 3 feet wide. And they were so nice. And I gave one to my sister, and I kept one, but it got lost, unfortunately. But yeah, that was fun. That was another one of my favorite episodes, when I played the piano and Anissa and I sang, "Let me entertain you." And they said, "Don't give up your day job." You don't need to sing here. Your day job doesn't include a musical. But I've done all kinds of musicals. Back in Tennessee, I have another really good friend, Jerry Malloy, who was for the college. He was their choral director and musician and composer, and he's phenomenal. And it was his idea to like take the shows like Tom Sawyer and that were on the movies, and you turn them into musical stage productions. And so I was in like 2 of them. I can't think of the Summer Magic. That was one of the first ones he did, Summer Magic, with Eddie Hodges. And Eddie Hodges was back in Tennessee, and he came to the premiere, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
anyway,
sure.
So it was like a musical, and then we did another musical with the same composers that had done the original movie, and they made it a stage show.
That's fantastic. Linda wants to know, what was it like to work with Brian Keith?
Very interesting, and he was different from year to year.
Yeah.
And I had worked with him when I was back as a child, and when he had a show called The Crusader. Anyway, I saw him again then when we were both cast in Family Affair. And he was Irish too, don't you know, a little bit there, Jim? And he had an Irish temper, but he never had the Irish temper on set. He was very respectful. He loved kids. He loves kids. He wasn't so crazy about some of the adult actors we had on, but he never said an ill word about any child, and really liked them. He had a whole different kind of methodology working as an actor than Sebastian Cabot. Sebastian he would learn each line, and he would study. He had a little trouble learning the lines, but he wanted to get them just perfectly. And I also think that was part of his character. Brian would come in the morning and says, "What are we doing today?"
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
And then he'd give, a semblance of what the words were. So he was approaching it from moment to motion, moment to moment emotionality.
Yeah.
Yes. Moment to moment. It's past time. I usually have a glass of wine at 5 o'clock, Chardonnay, that my lovely husband puts out on the foyer for me.
Does he really?
Yes, he does that.
Wow.
So, and then I get my wine, I make dinner. It's it's a nice routine.
Yes.
So once I try and make it,
He's a keeper. He's a keeper.
Oh, he is. 30 years. Yes.
Quickly before, you and I were chatting before you went, Sebastian Cabot, who was so brilliant in that role, and also the episode of The Twilight Zone where he played Satan, but we didn't think he was that until the end, and everything he's been in. Quite different in real life than the characters he played, especially as the lovable Mr. French, right?
Right. And this is not any disservice to Mr. Cabot, but he was born in London, and he never really graduated high school. So he didn't have like a book learning kind of education. And he became an actor because he got a job as a chauffeur, and he was chauffeuring around one of the top actors in England. And he says, well, I would like to be an actor. He honed his acting career, but at heart, he was just a down home person. I went over to his house for dinner one time with his lovely wife, Kay, and their children. And he was cooking, and he was in his sweats and just sitting back. And that was the real Sebastian.
Yeah, it was
see, another thing is because Sebastian loved his wife, he loved his kids. So that feeling from Sebastian, he put on this over thing, but underneath he had this real love for the children that came. And the same with Brian, whether it was, like super laid back, loved the kids. And so that, both of them really, helped again. And I learned a lot from both, because now my acting style was an amalgam of both of them.
Yes, really, you've learned a lot, and you've shared a lot, and you continue to, my friend. Really beautiful having you here. Linda says, thank you, Kathy, for sharing so much with all of us. It's a real treat to have you on the Lovity Squad show.
Lovity Squad,
yay. With all the Lovities. You were designated a Lovity a long time ago, my friend. You are definitely a Jim Masters show Lovity, and everybody's saying all these wonderful things. Sherry Larson, of course, thank you for being with us tonight. Enjoyed listening to you. How do you keep upright with all you do?
Because after I have my glass of wine and I make dinner, I love to make dinner. Of course, I've written cookbooks. I go to bed and I sleep 8 hours straight. My head hits the pillow because I'm so active during the day, and I do all that. As soon as I get to bed, I'm gone.
You're gone.
8 hours, I'm gone.
Jen in Allentown, PA says, Kathy, thank you for spending time with us. Fun night. Kathleen Walker, New York City. Kathy, it's so nice to have you here again. I need to get your book. You are so lovely.
Well, I tell you, Kathleen, you can go to my website, which is kathygarver.com. And all my books are there, my 5 books, as well as photos. And I have Sissy candles that my stepson made, Scott. Or of course, you can go to Amazon, and they have them there. Or come and like me on my Facebook page. It's a Kathy Garver fan page, and then we can stay in touch.
Fantastic. You're the very best. Once again, Mr. George Burns is here, and he said that you were absolutely amazing. Knocked it out of the park once again.
Well, thank you, George. Actually, I did a skit playing Gracie. I loved it at one of
Did
the
you really?
conventions that we did at the Mid-Atlantic Nostalgia Convention in Maryland, and I had so much fun playing Gracie. It was just delightful.
Did you have to do her voice?
I did. I can't remember. I can't do it right now. I have to listen to it first, and then I can get it back because it's a little New York. And
There it is.
even though she was really from the West Coast, but she was around George for so long that she picked up on the way he talks. And so she kind of got into that same kind of cadence.
I love you, Gracie. I love you.
I love you too, George. Say good night, George.
And we love you, Kathy Garver. You are one of the sweetest people, one of the nicest. You're truly a class act, and it's really a pleasure having you here on our show. And we will keep that porch light on. You are welcome anytime. And thanks for spending all this time with us. I hope, as always, you enjoyed the time with me as much as I certainly have with you.
Absolutely. It is so much fun to talk with you, and you listen and you just spark things, and always a delight. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Now go have that wine.
I'm going to. I know it's out on the foyer.
And make dinner, and we
Yes.
will see you again soon. We love you, Kathy. Thanks for
Love
everything.
you too. Love you
well.
all. Thank
We'll
you.
see-
Thanks
we'll
for
see you again soon.
listening.
Take care.
Bye.
Kathy Garver. You thought I was busy? Boy, she has a lot of irons in the fire. And again, movies coming out and the books and all these cool things. And it's really, really cool to see. All right. Couple of comments coming in before we wrap up here. Good night all and hugs. Again, thank you, gang. If this is your first time here, if you've been here before, we thank you as well. And for those of you who aren't watching live, you're watching this later on, stay right here. Check out another episode or two of our series we call The Jim Masters Show Live. Thank you, Kathleen. Right back at you as well. Christine Clifton, thank you very much as well. Good to see you here. Thanks for the interesting conversation with Kathy. She has great stories. Yes, she does. She's a dear friend, and she's a big, big fan of The Jim Masters Show Live, and we love her for that. So many projects. Wish her well with her book. Such a fun lovety. Yeah, absolutely. She sure is. Absolutely. More coming in here. Comments coming in from our lovely audience. Thank you, Jim. Wonderful show as always. Kathy is a gem. Heart, heart, heart. Of course, so are you. Thank you. I appreciate that, my friend. Sherry Larson. Yes. And thank you very, very much. And let's see. What a wonderful guest. Kurt says, what a wonderful guest. I agree. She absolutely was. I love hearing her stories. Kurt, I second that emotion. She sure is a firecracker. Yes, she is. That was great. Thank you, Jim. Kathy is so wonderful. Thank you as well. Toby says, some of the guests make me feel like a youngster, and time again. Thank you very much. Jen Barry says, Jim, bring Kathy back soon. Fun night. Toby says, this was fab, just fab. Thanks, gang, for all the great comments. We love it. Glad you enjoyed yourself. Jane in Sweden says, this was a great show. Thank you, Kathy, for being here. Thanks, Jim. The pleasure is all mine. Again, she's been here about 3 or 4 times, and we love when our friend Kathy Garver stops by the Jim Masters Show Live. You always learn something new, too. Not just about the beloved Family Affair series, of course, but all these other projects and all these other cool things that she's involved in. All right, we're going to scoot out. We've got a busy day. I have a lot tomorrow. I've got a television shoot up in Massachusetts tomorrow. Then we have this show and a busy weekend. I got a TV news shoot on Saturday morning with a guest that has flown in to the East Coast here. And then we have 2 shows on Saturday. We have humorist and stress expert and the incredibly funny Loretta LaRoche joining at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then we've got another special guest at 7 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. So many shows, so many good times with all of you. Thanks, gang. We love you all. And thanks for watching this episode and all the episodes you enjoy of the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. Hope you guys are doing well. Life is treating you well. Take care of one another. Love one another. And thanks for being with us as often as you are here on the Jim Masters Show Live. We'll see you again soon, okay? Take care. Love you all. Be well. And cheers.